Come on a quick tour of almost 30 years of my journaling.
Hi, now that I know how to splice video clips together, which I'm very impressed about that because that's not something I've ever been able to do before. But anyway, I do a bad job at it, but we're going to see in this video whether I can create a coherent narrative by using small little clips, which will be less stressful because if one part doesn't turn out, then it's only 30 seconds and not 10 minutes. Okay, here at the outset, I wanted to show you my piles and piles and piles of journaling that is not beautiful in any way, and in fact is not even legible because of my handwriting. Plus, the content of these journals is mostly a bunch of complaining about my life and pity party internal dialogue. And that is what the content is like in a lot of my journals that even look more impressive. So I'm telling you this because I don't want anyone to think that my journaling looks impressive all or even most of the time or contains any kind of prose that probably can even be considered prose. So I want you to know that because as we continue on in this little video series, I'll probably be showing you the best stuff or some of the best stuff out of all of the journaling that I've done. And that is not the majority of stuff. Like everything on social media, this will be curated. Plus, some of the stuff that I'm going to show you, it's good because it works. So I hope that if it is good, you can take it and use it in your journaling in some way that works for you. I'll also show you some really ugly pictures and stuff that I've drawn. So you will know that I'm telling you the truth about this stuff not being so impressive that you need to be intimidated by it. I'm just showing you this journaling because it is the journaling that I know. It is the journaling of my life. And I'm trying to give you an overview of what that can look like over about 30 years and the different kind of journaling you might do within that time. Ultimately, I want to be able to help you with your journaling, either getting started on a journaling practice or growing your current journaling practice. So ultimately, I want this to be about you and how I can help you. And I think I can help you just because I've been doing this for a long time. I don't have any expertise apart from that, but I would love to help you, and I'm going to show you my journals through the last literally 3 decades so you can see what that looks like in at least one life. Hello, I'm sitting here with my black coffee because I am still having an eating window of about 5 hours. Today it was 6 hours from 9 to 3, so only black coffee and tea and water for me until tomorrow. Anyway, in this segment, I'm going to show you the very earliest artifacts from my journaling. The very first thing is just for fun, and it's technically not journaling, but it's something that lives inside the envelopes in one of my envelope journals, and I will show you what those are. But anyway, these are dedicated to my very dear friend, John West, who is unfortunately now dead. He and I made these paper bag puppets of Jimmy Page and Robert Plant in a class we had together. I don't remember what the assignment was. But anyway, Jimmy Page has this double neck guitar. And what's really funny is I don't like Led Zeppelin. I can't stand them. But I've got these and I love them because I made them with my dear friend John. Okay, now this is the oldest artifact that I have of my journaling life. And since it includes napkins, I guess I made it at a restaurant, I guess it can technically be called mixed media. And it is this weird idea that I had about human enlightenment or something. And I wrote 6 or 8 pages about some weird philosophy about how humanity is getting better and better. And I called that the Messianic Age, which I think was a popular thing to discuss among the liberal Jews I was kind of influenced by at that time. I don't mean liberal, like politically liberal, but a kind of like liberal reform Judaism that's very feminist and very cool in a lot of ways. But they do tend to also practice Judaism, which is interesting. They do the holidays and all that. But anyway, they didn't believe in a Messiah. They certainly didn't believe in Jesus, of course, and they didn't believe in a literal person Messiah, but they did believe that we were evolving or something closer to the idea of shalom, which means peace for the world. So I was real influenced by that at the time. And while I really do not resonate with this person who wrote this all that much, you can see that even at that time, I was interested in man's relation to God and also in the idea of the Messiah. So I think that's really interesting because probably about 10 years later, I became a Christian, which I swore that I would never, ever, ever, ever do. So that's funny because it shows how much a person can change, especially when God changes them. But anyway, this is almost 30 years ago, 12/20/1987. So if you started now, in 30 years, you could look back on something that you wrote now, and hopefully it is not kind of as embarrassing as this is, but if it is, that's okay too, because it just shows what happens over time as you learn and grow and have new experiences. Okay, I'm hoping that I can get quite a bit more of this done while the lighting is still decent in here, because if I have to take out my artificial lighting, everything is going to look terrible. And I just noticed that in the last sections there was this gross white spot on my shirt, so I just put on this shawl that I just got the other day at the thrift store so you won't be distracted by the spot, in case you would be. So anyway, I decided that I was going to show you my journals by binding type. And yes, I do bind my own books now. I have not always bound them by any means. So do not feel like you need to bind your own book in order to start journaling. And even if you are interested in binding your own book, you know what's really cool is that you can just take paper and fold it up and put the pieces together, and basically you've got a signature of a book. And I did that with these, and they are not even stapled. But if you stapled them, they would be technically bound, which is good. You know also that I write on these loose pieces of paper, but I do like to have things bound if possible, and this is the easiest way to do it. And this is also really easy, simple journaling that you could just start doing anytime, just basically drawings, you know, I did these drawings looking at a little wooden mannequin that I had. I was thinking about my stream of consciousness, you know, trying to do some cool lettering. Have a little calendar on the back. So anyway, that is an easy binding, and all you need is a pen, some colored pencils, and some paper. And then I think the next thing I'm going to show you are these 3 books, because this was kind of the next step in my bookbinding. And I learned bookbinding from Gwen Diehn in her book called The Decorated Page and The Decorated Journal. And this is the first book that I made that actually had a spine. And it's just, you know, all this watercolor paper, and it's sewn together like this. And I made this in 2006, and I was just doing some sketching of what was on my table. And then next I felt, wow, I had made a soft cover full spine book. And next I made a hardcover full spine book, and it used to have something glued on the front and it came off, and it really is a cool book. It's made with all different kinds of paper inside. And here's some of my weird, oops, crap. Okay, I almost spilled my coffee. That would have been horrible. My journals are here. Anyway, I don't know what I was going to show you. Oh, crapola. Oh, this is a good page. Me and my daughter were both drawing the same things. But anyway, what I learned from this book is that even though this one, I can make it go pretty flat, it will not go totally flat. And so I've never gone past like a quarter of this book, because I really don't like working in it because it doesn't go completely flat. Okay, and then after that, I learned how to make this kind of open spine book right here. And I learned that from Gwen Diehn too. And this has watercolor paper in it, and I was starting to try to be more artsy. And I've got a little envelope here, and in the next segment I'm going to show you envelope journals. Okay, envelope journals. I'm really proud of these because I actually designed these. So when I figured out how to make them, I knew that I kind of understood bookbinding, and that took several years. So it's always good when you see that you are learning something, because a lot of times it can feel like you're not learning anything at all. But anyway, the first book that I made out of envelopes is when I was really trying to do the art journal thing. And this is just made out of regular like 9x12 envelopes. And at the time I made it, I really didn't like it at all, because I knew I was trying really hard, and that doesn't always produce anything good. But when I look back on this, I really like it a lot. And what's really cool is it has these little handles on it. I learned that from Traci Bunker. She's awesome. You should get her book about art journaling. But anyway, she saves packaging that has handles, and she uses it on things like this. So it's kind of a book, and it's kind of a briefcase. And since it's made out of envelopes, it actually has stuff inside it. And I'm going to take you just on a quick mini tour of this. See? This is when I was learning about things like fold outs, and I'm just going to turn the page and see what I get. This is a good page. I like this. Well, here's an envelope too. Oh, what do we have in the envelope? Okay. In the envelope is just this little tag that I made on April 21st, 2013. I know what I did on that day. So this one is just like really artsy. And you know, I've got this. You can see my face here through this little window. It's very cool. So, and anyway, what I ended up not liking about this though was that I made this out of like craft paper envelopes, that yellow color, and everything in it kind of is tainted, or not tainted, but tinted by that. So it's a little darker probably than I would like. Okay, and then next I got some big envelopes, and these were white, and I bound it together with this ribbon. What I ended up not liking about this is I hate a landscape orientation. I was wondering, what do I hate about this book? And it is that it is a landscape orientation, which basically means, as I'm sure you know, that it's very long. But I still like this book because there are some really good pages in here, some techniques that I learned in some of my art books. Like this is a magazine picture painted over. Looks way more impressive than it really is as far as work. This is the same thing. And I'm just going to pull something randomly out of one of these envelopes too. Let me see. Oh, okay. This is not my journaling, but this is a journal page made by my dear friend, Donna Buchanan, who is a painter, and her blog is called Spinning Daydreams. So that's in here. And let's see, one more thing. Oh, this is the original of a comic I did that went into one of my zines. Okay, so that's that one. And then finally, I made this book when I was watching like season 3 of Dexter. I don't think it was in real time. But anyway, I remember making this book when I was watching Dexter. And this has a portrait orientation, and the pages are white. But I never really finished this. I lost interest in the pages. I don't know why. But anyway, there is a lot of stuff stored in here. Here is the pack of cards. That it was a card swap that I participated in, and it was based on the book of Proverbs, and I made this card, and it is in this deck of cards. And I keep that in the envelope, which is pretty cool. And let me see if I can find anything else interesting in here. Oh, here we go. Okay. This was one of my first attempts to copy the Bible, which is something that I say I would like to do. And since I'm 48 years old, if I ever want to do it, I really would need to probably start now. And I think that may be all for tonight. I might make this a 2-part video because I think the lighting is going. So I'm gonna go edit this and hopefully get it up for you to see tonight.